everyone. My name is Michael Zeke. I'm the Education Director here at the Acadiana Conservatory. And today we're going to be doing some work on our pianos. Kelly, Gerard has been here all week kind of servicing our pianos, which we like to take care of over the summer. Every so often it's good to kind of tune up your pianos, and we're doing a process today called key easing. So I have Kelly Gerard here to kind of talk about a little what that is, and to give you a little insight on what the inside of a piano looks like, because that's not something you see every day.
Hello, and so what we're looking at here is part of the action. The action consists of all the keys and what's called the stack, that is all the mechanical pieces that connect from the key to the string. And so we have it apart here today to do key easing, which what that means is that over time humidity builds up in the wood and in these little felts inside these little oblong holes on the front and on the middle. We also have this center pin hole for the key to ride on the center pin, and as the wood swells with humidity over time, it becomes very rough on this center pin to move freely. So what we're doing today is, watch, let me put this back, and you can see it's a little sticky, and so we want it to be very, very free. And so there is a compression tool that very slight pressure on the inside of each of these holes compresses the felt and the wood. You don't want to do too much because a key that's too loose is another problem. So same thing for the center pin. As you can see, this is a very tight center hole, and so we just want to clean that up and make it a little freer to ride on the pin. Oops, sorry. And now you can see it's very, very free. Okay, so that happens on all keys, that same process. Then what else we'll be doing today is here on the action, lots of meticulous measurements and adjustments on the action stack. There's approximately 90 parts per key on a grand, and so what we'll be doing today is oiling all the moving parts, and I'm going to do a little hammer filing to get these hammers back to more of an oblong shape. Gives them a better tone, better quality, and it keeps them from getting flat on the strings. Also, over time, again, humidity builds up in these felts. The hammers are made of a dense felt, and the humidity causes a little crusty edge around the top of the felts, the outer edge of the felts. And by doing a little soft filing on that, it takes that crusty edge off, and it also gives the hammer a better tone quality and a longer life. So that's pretty much
To kind of circle back on the hammers, because I know we were talking earlier, you mentioned a really fun fact that I would have never thought about how hammers are made per each piano, that they're made out of one big piece of felt.
Yeah. So this whole entire strip of felt is one big long piece that gets sliced, and you can see it gets sliced at different angles for the different sections of the piano, and they're all tapered the same from the beginning to the end. I mean, it's a narrower taper at the end, of course.
So also in this process of servicing all these pianos, you mentioned a process called key leveling, and there was some very interesting tidbits from how minor adjustments you might have to make between each key. Can you kind of go over a little bit of that process and how big or how minor those adjustments might be?
Sure. So let's just take a look at one right here. Let's see. So in the center rail, we have the center punchings that regulate the height of the height of the actual
Key?
motion.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And in the front, we have the punchings that regulate the height of the key dip. so how far down the key goes when you play it.
Mhm.
And so it would sit about this high normally with the stack on and dip like that. So each of those punchings are measured in a very minute measurement, and they go from sizes in felt this thick to cardboard thick like this, down to paper thin, and even tissue paper size.
Wow.
To get the exact height and of each measurement.
And so is this something that over time, whereas if it's made out of paper, it can kind of deteriorate a little bit, and you might need to redo this every so often?
Exactly. They do deteriorate the smaller they are, and also the felts. Unfortunately, we live in an area that has a lot of little bugs that love felt and paper, like silverfish, and on older pianos you'll see a lot of bug-eaten and actually paper and felts that have just deteriorated to dust. And so when you see that, you'll see it on the key before you see it here, because the key is not going to be the right height,
right,
or dip down to the right depth. So,
all right. And then just as a general rule of thumb, what would you say is your rule of thumb for kind of when to get, if you have a piano at home or anything that you might want to get looked at, when every so often you should kind of get that done?
Oh, key leveling, that really happens when a piano is in its older stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unless it gets played an awful lot, and especially by a hard player, those measurements and all should be good for several decades.
Gotcha. And then just general tuning and servicing, how about that?
General tuning average is once a year.
Okay.
The thing that makes the piano go out of tune, regardless of how much it's played, is temperature and humidity changes through the year. So of course you want to keep it tuned during any drastic season change. Of course, in the South, we don't have really drastic season changes. We have 3 days of summer. 3 days of winter, and the rest is summer.
It's hot.
Right, So, but yeah, so once a year is sufficient for our area.
So you were just saying, so for this piano in particular, we really wanted to get it key leveled and everything because it would help with lessons. Can you go on a little bit about how that's going to help for lessons here?
Sure. So as we were talking about how the wood swells and the felt swells, it makes it more difficult to play evenly across the piano, and it becomes what's called a heavy action, meaning that it's harder to play the keys softly and consistently. So you have to play a little harder to get a good even sound. With this process, what it does is it frees up the keys, it frees up everything to a point where you can play very softly and consistently, which is perfect for young students because they don't have that muscle control to play hard yet. And so that it makes it a whole lot easier for them to play evenly.
We're really gearing up for our fall semester of lessons, so it's really good to get this done before all of that starts up. So we're happy that you're able to come help us with that.
Great, thank you so much.
So thank you.
Yeah.